So, continuing with our reading of Sri Ramananda Rai Sangbad. So, we've come through from considering that Varnashram is the sadhya. This is the goal, the ultimate reality, the goal of life is to live according to the precepts and dictates of Varnashram. And previously, that made up a very stable society in Bharatvash, with the Varnashram flourishing. Krishna will only ever appear in a land where Varnashram is there, is being practiced. So this Varnashram is to be respected, etc. But it's not the ultimate goal. Just like Nishkarma Karma is not the ultimate goal, Sharanagati is not the ultimate goal, Gyan Mishra Bhakti is not the ultimate goal, Sunya Mishra Bhakti is not the ultimate goal. Even Prem in Shantaras is not the ultimate goal. Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, this is not the ultimate goal. Even the Prem in Kantaras or Madhuryaras is not the ultimate goal, or the ultimate aspiration of the jiva. We can go further. Mahaprabhu is giving us more and more. So then he began to describe Krishna Tattva. And today we're coming into Radha Tattva. These are setting the pillars for the sadhya, with Krishna Tattva and Radha Tattva solidly erected. Then the palace of Ras, or the palace of the, it's described as the Vilas Tattva, can sit comfortably on that Ras, on that foundation. So today in Radha Tattva, we're on page 147 of our Rai Ramananda book. And we've included, by the way, in the WhatsApp thread, a diagram of Krishna Paratattva. It's very, very helpful to look at while we're going through this description. It'll make it easier to appreciate these truths. Okay, so Radha Tattva, Bilva.
149 to 151. Yeta sankshepe kahila Krishnera swarup, yebe sankshepa kahi Radha Tattvarup. Krishnera ananta shakti tate teen pradhan, chik shakti maya shakti jiva shakti naam, antaranga bahiranga tatashta kahiyar, antaranga swarupa shakti sabhara upare.
So everything is manifesting from Swarup Shakti. Everything in existence. Krishna has his own independence, his swatantrata, and he has his free will, swa-ichamayata. So, but everything else in existence, including Baladev, are all manifesting from Swarup Shakti. Srimati Radhika manifests from Krishna's left-hand side. And immediately she's filled with overwhelming prem for Krishna, and she runs to Krishna. So this is Shakti Tattva that we're entering in, or Radha Tattva. So Ramananda Rai then said, I have thus briefly explained the fundamentals of Sri Krishna's original form. Briefly. We could unpack this for many weeks and even months, this Krishna Tattva, but we're getting the thread. We're looking for the structure of Mahaprabhu's gift in this Rai Ramananda Sangbad, and it'll give us great strength in understanding so many other siddhantas, etc., by getting these particular Krishna Tattva and Radha Tattva very clearly, very comfortably in the heart. Ramananda Rai then said, I have thus briefly explained the fundamentals of Krishna's original form. Now please hear as I give a brief description of Sri Radha. Sri Krishna has unlimited potencies, of which 3 are prominent. So these unlimited potencies make up the Swarup Shakti. Radha Purna Shakti, Krishna Purna Shaktiman. Edui Vastu Bed, Shastra Praman. That Shakti ultimately and Shaktiman are the same. They are one. They're non-different. Just like the sun and the sunshine are non-different, like fire and its heat are non-different. Yet, on closer analysis, we see that there is a distinction. We can make a distinction. These are the spiritual potency, Chit Shakti, the material potency, Maya Shakti, and the marginal potency, Jiva Shakti. So these are the three Shaktis that are described at the beginning of Jivadhamma, the Vastus, three Vastus, Krishna, Maya, and the Jiva, which is otherwise known as the living entities, Jiva Shakti. These are also known respectively as the internal potency, Antaranga Shakti, the external potency, Bahiranga Shakti, and the marginal potency, Tatastha Shakti. By the internal potency or Swarup Shakti, but the internal potency or Swarup Shakti predominates. So Shakti is the energy that Krishna is manifesting for the entirety of creation. The Supersoul, Parabrahm, does not perform any material activities, since he does not have material hands or feet. Supersoul is Antaryami, a witness. He performs his transcendental pastimes without any material cause. By his transcendental body, he resides everywhere in the whole universe at the same time. There is mention of this Chit Shakti, spiritual potency, in the Upanishads.
Te dhyana yoganugata apashyan devatma shaktim sa gunair nigudam yak karanani nikilani tani kalatma yuktan atitishtat ekaha.
This is from the Ashvara Upanishad 1:3. Those Brahmavadi rishis who know the fundamental truths are firmly situated in trance of Samadhi Yoga and are empowered by the qualities of Parabrahm. The Brahmavad believes in the power of the Lord. A Brahmavad believes in the Lord's power. He worships the Lord as a power. The Devas, they are Brahmavadis. They believe in the highest potency within the Lord, and they worship that Nirgun, effulgence, that Brahmajyoti in Shantaras. That is the Brahmavadis, as opposed to the Mayavadis, who actually consider that they themselves are that Supreme Lord. That's the distinction between the two. The Brahmavad is a theist. The Mayavad is an atheist. So have these two distinctions there very clear. While wrapped in meditation, they have seen by the influence of the Lord's energies the exceedingly confidential divine potency born from his very form. So the Brahmajyoti is staggering. It's the light of the Lord. It's exceedingly brilliant. The exceedingly confidential divine potency born from his very form. He is the cause of all other causes and the sole predominant and presiding deity of the living entities of time, of material nature, and of activity. So this is the Brahmajyoti conception. This is the Parabrahm. Maya Shakti is described in the following verse.
Chandamsi yajna kratavo vritani bhutam bhavyam yacha veda vadanti asmanmayi srajate vishvam etat tasmimschanyo mayaya sanniruddhaha.
Again, this is from the Shvetashvara Upanishad 4:9. Paramatma, who is the master of the deluding material nature, has created all the teachings of the Vedas. He has also created special yagyas, such as Jyotishma, that are performed with ghee, various types of vrata, fasts, sacrifices, penances, and everything else in existence in the past, present, and future. In other words, he has created the entire world, the description of which is found in the Vedas. The master of Maya has created all of this, and the ignorant jivas are bound by his Maya, his illusion. So if we understand these tattvas, we're no longer bound in the same way by the Mayic energy. It is possible to find further descriptions of this Maya Shakti in the other Upanishads.
Ajam ekam lohita shukla krishna bahvi praja srijamanam sarupaha ajohi eko jushamano nusate jahatya yenam bhukta bhogam ajonyaha.
Sveta Ushvara Upanishad again, 4.5. There are two types of unborn jivas. Jivas of the first type are ignorant and worship Bhagavan's material potency called Prakriti. Prakriti is the material energy. That Prakriti, whose modes are red, white and black, Raja, Sattva and Tama, is also unborn like Bhagavan. The jiva is eternal. That's what it's saying in the beginning, the two unborn jivas. We manifest in this world, but actually, ultimately, the jiva is eternal. He's always been in existence. However, unborn jivas have the second type of, unborn jivas of the second type are knowledgeable. They have overcome ignorance and therefore have completely renounced that material energy which the others strive to enjoy. So these two types are described clearly in Jaiva Dhamma. I think it's in chapter 4. This Udita Vivek. Vivek means intelligence. Udita means rising, like Udila, the rising sun, the dawn. So Udita Vivek. And those who are in ignorance, they are unudita Vivek. Their sun has not begun to rise in their intelligence. So these are beautiful terminologies, Udita Vivek and Anudita Vivek, which are being described here. There are two types of jivas. One type is knowledgeable, jnanis. They worship the Supreme Soul, completely renouncing the material energy that others are striving to enjoy. The other type of jivas remains ignorant, engaging in the service of the material energy, Maya. So in either way we either serve Maya or we serve the Lord. Although non-different from his own inconceivable internal potency, Bhagavan's desires are independent. So Bhagavan is different from his internal potency. I said just before, this swatantrata, this freedom. At the end of Jaiva Dhamma, I'll read tomorrow, I don't have my Jaiva Dhamma at hand, but in the 14th chapter, at the very end of the 14th chapter, Raghunath Das is describing in the Jiva Tattva section how Bhagavan has these two independent qualities that Sri Radhika doesn't have. She doesn't have complete freedom. She doesn't have complete independence. She's dependent on the Son of Krishna. So Bhagavan's desires are independent. That Supreme Person has an eternal transcendental form whose glories are self-manifesting. The Supreme and Absolute Truth is eternally self-manifested. The following Vedic mantra provides another account of the three energies of that self-manifesting truth. Oh, just a second.
Yes.
Can you just take off my altar in my room, that Jaiva Dhamma? It's sitting there. Thank you.
Savishva Krit Vishva Vidatma Yonihi Nyakala Kalo Guni Sarva Vidyaha Pradhana Kshetrajna Patir Guneshaha Samsara Moksha Sthiti Bandha Hetuhu.
That Paramatma is omniscient and the creator of the universe. He is self-born, the controller of time, color, the knower of all, the Lord, thank you so much, thank you, the Lord of the material energy, Pradhan, and the controller of all jivas. He is full of all transcendental qualities and beyond all material qualities, yet he is their master. He binds the jivas in the repeated cycle of birth and death, places them in their respective situations, and also liberates them from that cycle. So I'm just going to reference this explanation that I've just given you from the 14th chapter. The 14th chapter is entitled Shakti Tattva. So here it's described right at the very end, the nature of Bhagavan. So this Shakti Tattva, which is what we're discussing today, Radha Tattva, the question might arise, if Shakti Tattva is manifesting everything, Swarup Shakti is manifesting everything, then what does Krishna do? This is the question that Brajanath asks to Babaji in the 14th chapter. So I want to read it. It's, if you're interested, it's on page 329 on the 14th chapter of Jayavadama. And the question is, all of this is simply the work of Shakti. So all this creation is the work of Shakti. Apart from this, the spiritual world, the spiritual body, and the spiritual pastimes are also indications of Shakti alone. It's Shakti that is manifesting all of this. Then what is the indication of Shaktiman Krishna? Where is Krishna amongst this? So now Babaji, he answers, this is a very difficult problem. Do you want to kill this old man with the sharp arrows of your arguments? My dear son, the answer is as simple as the question, but it is difficult to find a person who is qualified to understand it. Anyway, I shall explain it, so please try to understand. It's very, very simple. We've already set the examples. I agree that Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes all indicate the function of Shakti. This is what we're discussing today, Shakti. However, freedom, Svatantrata, and free will, Svaicha Mayata, are not the work of Shakti. They are both intrinsic activities of the Supreme Person, and Krishna, that Supreme Person, who has free will and is the abode of Shakti. So Shakti is the enjoyed and Krishna is the enjoyer. So here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is very clearly describing the nature of Shaktiman in relationship to Shakti. So I think understanding this gives us a clearer appreciation of what is being presented here. So that Paramatma is omniscient and the creator of the universe. He is the creator of the universe through Swarup Shakti. He is self-born, the controller of time, color, the knower of all, the lord of the material energy, Pradhan. The Pradhan is that material energy before the seed from Mahavishnu is injected. It's called the primordial soup, so to speak. And the controller of all jivas. He is full of all transcendental qualities and beyond all material qualities. Yet he is their master. He binds the jivas in the repeated cycle of birth and death, places them in their respective situations, and also liberates them from that cycle. This mantra, my Gurudev's comments now, this mantra mentions the following three divisions of the internal energy of Bhagavan. Pradhan, the total manifestation of the three modes of material nature. This indicates Maya Shakti, or the illusory energy. The Pradhan is the origin. It's like an example of the mother's womb. Prior to the seed being injected to produce a child, the mother has a womb with the potentiality to produce a child, but until the seed is injected, nothing will happen. So that embryo is just in a unmanifested state, we can say. So that is the nature of the Pradhan. It's in an unmanifested form until the seed is injected from Mahavishnu. That seed of the jiva and time are injected, and then it becomes known as the Prakriti, the material energy. Then the three modes of nature are agitated by the element of time, etc. But prior to that, this is the Pradhan. So it's saying the Pradhan, the total manifestation of the three modes of material nature. This indicates Maya Shakti, or the illusory energy. But this is prior to the activity of Maya Shakti manifesting. It's the embryotic state. And then Ketra Gyan, number 2, the knower of the body. This indicates Jiva Shakti, or the individual souls. These are the individual souls that are going to be injected into Pradhan and work amongst the Prakriti, the material energy. Then Ketrapati, the internal potency, or the Chit Shakti. That Chit Shakti is the spiritual potency beyond Mahavishnu. It's outside of that. It's the eternal aspect of the spiritual potency. And there's a tiny, tiny, tiny spark within each jiva to give it life. There is an axiom of logic that states, Shakti, Shaktimatayo Abed. Bhagavan is non-different from his own multifarious potencies. Shakti, potency, and Shaktiman, the possessor of potency, are non-different, like the sun and the sunlight are non-different. Yet we're going to establish here in this chapter about Radha Tattva. What is the distinction? What is the speciality? We've just established who is Krishna, but what is the Shakti? In accordance with this logical principle, we may understand that this world is the work of the external potency known as Maya Shakti. The manifestation of the countless individual souls is the work of Jiva Shakti, and the manifestation of the spiritual world is the work of the internal potency known as Chit Shakti. So these three Shaktis, very clear, distinct. This Maya Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and Chit Shakti. By the same logic, we may appreciate that despite all the work performed by his energy, Bhagavan himself remains unaffected and immutable at all times. Bhagavan is unchanging. Maya Shakti is the shadow of Chit Shakti. This can be understood by the example of someone's reflection in a large mirror. At first glance, that person and his reflection might appear to be identical, but upon more thorough examination, it becomes apparent that both are in fact diametrically opposite each other. When you look at the reflection in the mirror, it seems initially the same, but the right hand in the mirror is the left hand in the reflection, and the left hand in the mirror is the right hand in the actual object. So everything is changed. So it's diametrically opposite. It's actually perverted. It's the perverted reflection, which is the nature of this material world. What is that perversion? Is that I am always thinking of self. And in the actual original spiritual realm, we are only thinking of Krishna. That's the categorical distinction. The perversion, the perverted reflection. It's perverted because it's like the reflection in the mirror in this world. It's completely different. It's actually opposite. On thorough examination, it becomes apparent that both are in fact diametrically opposite to each other. One is the person himself, and the other is simply his reflection. So this whole material world is simply a reflection, and yet we take it so seriously. In a similar fashion, the varieties within the spiritual and material world might at first appear to be alike, but a more careful examination would in fact reveal them to be quite opposite. So that opposite is the consideration of love. There is no love in this material world. It's a perversion. Everything is selfishly based. Like we give the example of the mother for the child. The mother loves the child because it's her child. It's that material connection that makes her love the child. She wouldn't get up at 2 o'clock in the morning for every other child in the street, but for her own child she would. So this is the example in the material world. Srimati Radhika is said to be Swarup Shakti, the Swarup from Krishna. Just as musk and its fragrance, or fire and its potency to burn, are inseparable from one another, similarly Srimati Radhika and Shri Krishna are always inseparable, even though they are eternally distinct in the matter of relishing nectarian leela. So they are the same, and yet they're distinct. Otherwise, they would not be Leela. It was saying at the beginning, this 2 paragraphs before, Shakti Matayo Abed. They are non-different. Musk and its fragrance are the same. But for Leela's sake, they have taken on different manifestations. They are eternally distinct in the matter of relishing nectarian Leela. Swarup Shakti performs 3 kinds of functions, manifesting the internal potency. The Chit Shakti that we've just described is where all the manifestations of the spiritual worlds and the material worlds are emanating from, the Chit Shakti. And that is ultimately Shakti Tattva or Radha Tattva. So this manifesting the internal potency, Chit Shakti, Maya Shakti, and Jiva Shakti. It's really very, very basic and simple. It's not so complicated at all. An alternative name for Chit Shakti is Antaranga. Antaranga means internal. Antar, like we have Antardweep. Why is Antardweep called Antardweep? Because Lord Brahma had his realization internally of the nature of this Mayapur Dham, this Antardweep. So he had that internal realization. So it's called Antardweep. So Antaranga Shakti, the internal potency. Another name of Maya Shakti is Bahiranga Shakti, the external potency. And lastly, another name for Jiva Shakti is Tatastha Shakti, the marginal potency. And we've said many times, Tatastha is not a geographical location, it's an energy, a Shakti, and we are manifesting from that energy of ultimately Sri Radhika. Sri Krishna is the root cause and the shelter of limitless incarnations of Bhagavan and infinite abodes of his incarnations, as well as unlimited universes. He is the root cause, but actually the cause is coming from Shakti. Just like in all our sampradayas, we've said before, they had the idea that Krishna was transforming into all the worlds. This is called Vastu Parinamvad. Krishna is that Vastu, but Mahaprabhu corrected that in all of the sampradayas. No, it's Shakti. Shakti is the transformative power. She is transforming into all the worlds. Yet despite personally being the limitless ocean of Ras, who attracts the heart of all, and despite directly being the very attractor of Cupid himself, still he is controlled by the prem of Sri Radha. This is the ultimate appreciation, that this powerful Shaktiman, the source, the cause, is now being controlled by his own energy, is controlling him. So this verse.
8.152 Vishnu Shakti Para Prokta Kshetra Jnakya Tata Para Avidya Karma Samnyaya Tritya Shaktirishyate.
This is from the Vishnu Purana 6.761. Sri Vishnu has 3 energies: the internal potency, Parashakti, the living entity, Ketra Gyan, and the illusory energy, Avidya Shakti. The internal potency of Vishnu is known as Swarup Shakti or Chit Shakti. The living entity potency is also known as Tatastha Shakti or Jiva Shakti. And the illusory potency is also known as Maya Shakti or the external energy. So we're appreciating the different terminologies which will be used in different verses and scriptures, etc. But they have the same principle, just like we talk about the Sandini energy or the Sat. Sandini and Sat are the same. Sangvit and the Chit Shakti are the same. And the Hladini or the Anand energy are the same. So Sat, Chit, Ananda are the same as Sandini, Sangvit, and Hladini. So don't be confused by this. They're just the same. To try and confuse you, but don't get confused, because it's very simple.
8.153 and 154 Satchidanandamaya Krishnera Swarup Ateva Swarupa Shakti Haye Teen Roop आनंदम से हिलादिनी सदम से संधिनी चिदम से संवित यार ज्ञाना करीमानी.
Sri Krishna's transcendental form is composed of eternity, bliss and knowledge, Sat Chit Ananda Maya. Therefore, his internal potency also has three different forms. From his aspect of eternality or existence comes Sandini. From his aspect of bliss comes Hladini. From his aspect of knowledge comes Sangvit. The cognizance portion of the internal potency has been accepted as real Gyan, knowledge. So this is very easy when you just look at the map. This map was designed for support. It's a tool. If you print it out, it'll be more easy for you to remember these things. Okay.
8. 155. Hiladini sandhini samvit tvayeka sarva samstitau hladataapa karimishra tvayino guna varjite.
Vishnu Purana 1:12-69. O Bhagavan, you are the shelter of everything. Your three spiritual potencies, Hladini, Sandhini and Sangvid, are always present within you. When the material energy acts upon the conditioned soul, he experiences happiness, misery, and a mixture of the two. None of these, however, is able to touch you, as the material energy has no influence upon you. The meaning here is that the three potencies, Hladini, Sandhini, and Sangvid, exist within Sri Krishna's own form, Swarup, own form. So they are always within him, but they are never fully within the jivas. Bhagavan is beyond the influence of the material energy, which consists of the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Yes, it's saying at the end of the 13th chapter, it describes in Jaivadhamma, it describes the number of qualities in the jivas are 50. And then the devas, they have more, Lord Brahma, Shiva, etc., they have 55 qualities. The demigods have those same 50 qualities, but to a higher degree, a greater percentage. But the qualities are basically the same, but Brahma, Shiva, they have 55 qualities. And then it's describing Lord Narayan has 60 qualities. And then it's describing Brajendrananda and Shyam Sundar has 54 qualities. So all of these are gradated through. Brajendrananda and Shyam Sundar, he has this Prem Swarup, Venu Swarup, Leela Swarup, and Madhurya Swarup, these sweet pastimes, these four pastimes. Thus it is never possible, where Bhagavan is beyond the influence of the material energy, which consists of the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Thus it is never possible for the potency of the mode of goodness, which gives material happiness to the mind, the potency of the mode of ignorance, which gives suffering, and the potency of the mode of passion, which gives a mixture of both, to touch Sri Krishna. But when the individual soul, who is a minute particle of consciousness, is controlled by the material energy, he obtains the three different results when he takes shelter of the three modes of material energy. So depending on which mode of material energy we're going to be influenced by, which is the consequence of our various activities and our karma, etc., to influence, to perform those activities, we're going to be under those three modes of material nature. Bhagavan, who is beyond the modes of material nature, and his Swarup Shakti are always one, Swarup and Rup. She is always present in a supremely pure state, devoid of any touch of material qualities. Thus, the internal potency is always separate from these three modes of nature. Furthermore, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is the presiding deity of these three modes of material nature, headed by the mode of goodness. These material energies permanently reside under the shelter of the Lord, as do the bliss of other potencies. The difference is that the three varieties of Swarup Shakti, Hladini, Sandhini, and Sangvid, are always non-different from the actual Swarup of Sri Krishna, just as musk and its scent are non-different. Heat and fire are non-different. Goodness, passion, and ignorance are functions of his external illusory potency, and they are not in the category of his internal energy. This external potency is separated. That's why we are called Vibhinamsa. Vibhin means separated, these separated parts. Thus, even though he is the presiding deity of the external potency, which is endowed with the three modes of nature, still he always remains untouched by them. This is describing Lord Narayan. This is not describing Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu actually has some contact with the material energy. He glances towards Maya Devi. He impregnates her with the seed manifesting through Shambhu into the Pradhan, which manifests the Prakriti. So, but it's described clearly in Shastra that this Mahavishnu, this Karanadakshayi Vishnu, has some scent. It's even described as contamination sometimes of the material energy because he interacts with it, whereas Lord Narayan has zero interaction with the material energy. And certainly Brajendra Nandan, it's far away. So understand this, what is being saying here, that it's Lord Narayan who remains untouched by them. And his supreme Shakti, Sri Radhika, of course, is also untouched by these material modes.
Okay, 8, 156 and 157. Krishna ke ahlade tate nama ahladini se shakti dware sukha ashwade apani sukha rupa Krishna kare sukha ashwadhan bhakta gane shukha dite hladini karan.
The potency that gives Bhagavan Sri Krishna transcendental pleasure is called Hladini. By this pleasure potency, Sri Krishna personally tastes all spiritual pleasure, even though he is the very embodiment of bliss. Krishna is Atmaram Aptakam, the embodiment of bliss, but still he tastes pleasure through his interaction with this Hladini Shakti, this pleasure Shakti. This potency also gives happiness to the devotees. This potency of Hladini is the bliss. It's described. There are many types of bliss. There's Bhajan Anand bliss. There's Harinam Anand bliss. There's Vaikuntha Anand bliss. There's Brahm Anand. And then there's Jad Anand, the bliss of this material world. So there's all these different gradations of bliss or experiences of bliss. But even Krishna himself derives the greatest joy and happiness from consorting with this bliss with his Swarup Shakti, the personified form of Hladini Shakti. Every one of the eternal symptoms of Swarup Shakti is present in full in Chit Shakti. Chit Shakti is that original spiritual energy, minutely present in Jiva Shakti and present in a distorted manner in the external energy Maya Shakti. So we've already described that distortion, that perversion. As mentioned above, Hladini, Sandini and Sangvid are three functions of Swarup Shakti. In Dasmula Shiksha, Instruction on the 10 Fundamental Principles by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we find this explanation. This is Dasmula 4, which I've already touched upon in chapter 14.
Savai hiladinyascha pranaya vikriter hiladana rataha tata samvichakti prakatina raho bhava rasitaha taya shri sandhinya krita vishada taddhama nishchaye rasam bodau magno vrajarasa vilasi vijayate.
There are three functions of Swarup Shakti. Yes, we're hearing it again and again and again, because it's a ecstatic topic to become very familiar with. Therefore, our acharyas, etc., they will repeat it numerous times in different ways. So eventually we're very comfortable with the appreciation of these shaktis, these remarkable energies that we're hearing about. There are three functions of Swarup Shakti. Sri Krishna remains perpetually immersed in the ecstatic transformations of the bliss potency Hladini Shakti. By manifesting the internal and confidential devotional sentiments through knowledge potency, Sangvit Shakti, he is always enjoying the mellows of loving exchanges. And by the existence potency, Sandini Shakti, the pure abode of Vrindavan is manifested, where Sri Krishna, who always performs blissful pastimes, eternally sinks in his own volition in the ocean of Braja Ras. So just for curiosity, I'm just going to see if this translation we've just heard differs from the translation that we have here in the Jaiva Dharma of this same verse. So this verse...
4. Dashamula 4.
Yes, I'm looking. Dasamula 4. Although Sri Bhagavan is non-different from his inconceivable transcendental potency, Parashakti, he has his own independent nature and desires. Yes, it's different. I want to read this version. His Parashakti consists of three aspects: Chit Shakti, spiritual potency; Jiva Shakti, marginal potency; and the Maya Shakti, external potency. And he always inspires them to engage in their respective functions. That Paramatattva, Bhagavan, remains immutable, even though performing all these activities, being eternally situated in his original Swarup. Personally, I prefer this translation to the one here. But you can decide yourself which one you feel more enlightened by. So now we're getting a description of this verse by my Gurudev. In summary, the influence of the three aspects of Swarup Shakti, Hladini, Sandini, and Sangvit, is seen throughout all the activities of the cognizant potency, the marginal potency, and the external potency. So all the activities of the knowledge and the marginal nature and the mayic nature, by their activities. What are the activities that they're performing, this energy? The daughter of Sri Brishabhanu Maharaj, Srimati Radhika, is the personification of the pleasure function of Swarup Shakti, and she always bestows complete transcendental happiness upon Sri Krishna. Srimati Radhika is made of Mahabhav, and she is always giving all varieties of bliss to him. Her non-different expansions, Kaya Vyuha Swarup, in the form of the 8 principal gopis, are her 8 different bhavs, and her 4 moods of service eternally manifest as the 4 types of Sakis, namely Priya Saki, Pran Saki, Narma Saki, and Parama Preshta Saki. So these 4 divisions of Sakis. All of them are eternally perfected Sakis, Nitya Siddha Sakis, present in the Vrindavan of the spiritual realm. So this is Aprakat Vrindavan, not Brahma Vrindavan. The Sangvit, cognizant function of Swarup Shakti, manifests all the different relationships in Braj. Yes, it's described that the Sangvit Shakti, the Sambandha or energy, or the Sandini, this facilitates the manifestation of relationships. So the knowledge potency in Braj, the Sangvit potency, manifest the nature of their relationships with each other. That's the knowledge in the spiritual world. What is the knowledge of my relationships with all the different personalities in Vrindavan? That knowledge Shakti is applied to the relationships, and the bliss and taste of those relationships is embodied in the Hladini Shakti or the Ananda Shakti. That's the sequence. So from the Sandini, from the form, because all the forms of Vrindavan are manifested from the Sandini Shakti, including Radha and Krishna. This is described in this diagram here. It's described as Sandini Vritti, everything like water, earth, forests, garden, Giriraj Govardhan, all transcendental knowledge, objects, all transcendental bodies of Sri Radhika, Sri Krishna, the Sakis, the Sakas, the cows, etc., are all manifesting from the potency of existence. They wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the existence potency. So the Sandini is the existence potency. And then all the various moods are manifested through the Sangvit Vritti. It's described, Sambandha. And then the prem that is relished are under the heading of the Kladini, the blissful nature, the Swarup Shakti, the Anand Shakti. She's saying the same thing here. Oh, my Gurudev is saying the same thing. The existence function, Sandini Vritti, manifests the transcendental land, bodies of water, villages, primary and subsidiary forests, mountains like Giriraj Govardhan and other scenic places. So this is a direct taken from the Jaivadharma, where Sri Krishna and his associates perform their pastimes. Moreover, the Sandini Vritti gives rise, Vritti means consideration, the existence potency. Nothing can manifest without existence. It's like in the Brahmajyoti, for example, there is no existence, so nothing is happening in the Brahmajyoti. There's no objects in the Brahmajyoti. It's just a state of bliss, but there's no objects to engender a relationship. There's no relationship because there's not a subject and an object within the Brahmajyoti. You understand? Moreover, the Sandini Vritti gives rise to the transcendental forms of Sri Radha and Krishna. Yes, when it's got existence potency, then there's an object and a subject. So existence potency in Sandini gives rise to Radha and Krishna. And the Sakas and the Sakis, cows, and every other servant and maidservant of Braj, as well as the completely spiritual paraphernalia used in their pastimes, all the objects. Sri Krishna forever remains immersed in the supreme bliss of the loving transformations of the pleasure function, Hladini Vritti. Krishna is always in consciousness of Sri Radhika, 24/7 in the pastimes, the Leelas. While the full variety of bhavs generated by the cognizant function, the Sangvit Vritti, provides him with the tastes of loving mellows or rasa. Sri Krishna expands such pastimes as attracting the gopis by playing his flute, cow grazing, ras lila, and other such pastimes by the agency of the cognizant function, the Sangvit Vritti, and his internal energy. This is Parashakti. His internal energy is Radha. Brajavilas Sri Krishna, who eternally enjoys pastimes in Vrindavan, always remains absorbed in the divine abode manifested by the existence function, the Sandini Vritti. So the existent Baladev Prabhu is the Ishtadev of that Sandini Shakti, and he's manifested all the places for Krishna's pastimes and the personalities within those pastimes, all coming from Baladev Prabhu, or the Sandini Shakti. The Jiva Shakti is a minute potency that is reliant upon Swarup Shakti. The three tendencies of Swarup Shakti are only present minutely in the Jiva Shakti. In the Jiva, the bliss function, Hladini Vritti, is present in the form of Brahm Anand, the bliss of Brahm, that blissful pleasure. The bliss achieved through realization of the formless Brahman. The cognizant function, Sangvit Vritti, is present as knowledge of that impersonal Brahman. And the existence function, Sandini Vritti, is always present as minute individual consciousness. That's knowledge. Yeah. Likewise, the three functions of the Swarup Shakti are present in Maya Shakti. The bliss function is present in the form of material happiness, the cognizant function is present as material knowledge, and the existence function takes the form of the entire material creation, including this universe composed of the 14 planetary systems and the material bodies of the jivas. This all makes absolute sense if you're sitting with this diagram. This is from the chapter 14, Shakti Tattva from Jivadhamma. It's exactly the same. It's the same words practically, the same language that is being used here. Maya Shakti is a perverted or reflected form of the superior internal energy of the Lord. In fact, Maya Shakti is only a name for the transformation of Bhagavan's Parar Shakti and is its shadow. It is not a separate, independent power. Maya is the sole cause of the jiva's bondage and also his liberation. When the jiva's orientation is opposed to Sri Krishna, Maya at once places him in bondage and punishes him. And when the jiva turns towards Sri Krishna, Maya bestows knowledge of Sri Krishna upon the jiva by manifesting the material mode of goodness, sattva gun, and liberates him from the ocean of birth and death, thus making him qualified for Krishna Prem. Bound by Maya in the form of the three modes of material nature, the jiva is unable to understand that the pure form of Maya is the Swarup Shakti of Bhagavan, and instead considers the shadow known as Maya as the predominant potency. So the pure form of Maya is Yogamaya. And this is a manifestation of the Swarup Shakti. And Yogamaya, she has her energy throughout the Braj Leela. Purnamasi Devi is orchestrating all the pastimes completely. Everyone is under this Swarup Shakti, who ultimately is Sri Radhika. So here we're understanding Shakti Tattva, Radha Tattva. So we'll stop here today. But to understand those last 4 paragraphs, if we have the desire to understand this more clearly, more closely, then we simply have to read this chapter 14 of Jivadhamma and the subsequent chapters also of the jiva bound by Maya, the jiva liberated by Maya, and what is Jiva Tattva. Chapters 15, 16, and 17 open this out very, very clearly. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has made this very, very clear. Because if you're reading this without having read Jivadhamma or listening to Jivadhamma or appreciating that, then it's going to seem complex or complicated, but actually it's not. Krishna is the Rup, the form, and Radhika is his Swarup. And from Radhika is manifesting all this energetic creation of the spiritual worlds and the material worlds and the jivas within those worlds to please Sri Krishna. That is the dynamic. It's all based on the platform of love. Nothing but love. This service to Sri Bhagavan. It's all in that circle, we can say. So, Radha Tattva ki jai. So we're walking through the structure of our sadhya to reach the sadhya. See it like a staircase, because Mahaprabhu wanted to give this journey, this path, because there are so many scriptural injunctions that we're going to be influenced by. Should we stay on one step for life, or should we be progressively moving towards the sadhya that Mahaprabhu himself is inspiring in the heart of Rai Ramananda to speak back to him? In the initial stage, we had the beautiful analogy of the rainwater, of the salt water coming to the cloud. The cloud is Ramananda Rai. So he's evaporating the ocean salt water, but it's like a condenser. It's purifying that water and sending it back again onto the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, back into the ocean of Ras, from where it actually originally emerged. So the pathway is clearly delineated Varnashram described, then Nishkarm Karma Yoga, then go higher, then Sharanagat. Many times preachers, they will speak on Sharanagat for their whole life. They will speak just on this platform. But we've described before that Srila Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj gave the very beautiful analogy that Sharanagat is like getting dressed. Everyone has to get dressed to go on the street. But getting dressed is not the principal purpose and objective of life. Right? So Sharanagat is also not the ultimate goal or ultimate sadhya. So then Mahaprabhu encouraging to go further, and then Gyan Mishra Bhakti, then Gyan Shunya Bhakti, and then Prem. What's that? Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavitamati Kriyatam Tatita Labhyate Tatra Lolyam. This lolyam, this greed, is embodied in this Prem. Mahaprabhu was satisfied with this, but he wanted to go more, because this Prem is being described in the realm of Shantaras. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na Sochati na Kanchati. This is the verse that's describing connection with this Prem. This is a general Prem in Shantara. Then we go to Dasyaras, then Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, which is so extraordinary, but more than Vatsalyaras, into Kantaras or Kanta Prem or Madhurya Prem, touching on Sringara Prem. And then Mahaprabhu is requesting Krishna Tattva, the Prem of Radha. What is the Prem of Radha? He wants to hear that. After the general Prem has been discussed, then what is the Prem of Sri Radha? So the love of Radha for Krishna, that had to be established, because this was Mahaprabhu's desire, his three desires which are being fulfilled and opened up here in this Sangvad. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kitri Shovanaiva. This Mahima, the greatness of Radha's love. And then Shri Radhaya Mahima Kitri Shovanaiva Swadyain Adbhuta Madhurima. This astonishing sweet qualities in Krishna that only Radha can perceive. Adbhuta, astonishing. Madhurima, sweet qualities. This is the second of Mahaprabhu's desires. These are described in Adi Leela chapter 4. So we have to get the connections here between all these truths that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is, by his benevolence, sharing with us. And then finally, Sokyam Chasyam Mad Anubhav, Krishna's own love. Radhika, what is the happiness that Radha experiences by receiving the sweetness of Krishna's love? This is his third desire. So that's been touched on in this Radha's Prem. Then Mahaprabhu wants to hear Krishna Tattva and Radha Tattva. After Radha Tattva, we will come to Prem Tattva itself, and then Vilas Tattva. So this is a structure, a very sublime, simple, step-by-step journey to the sadhya. If we have the sadhya intact, our compass, so to speak, in our consciousness is clear. At the time of leaving this body, we will desire or aspire to attain that goal, that sadhya. My Gurudev used to say so many times, just to have this desire to be a Palyadasi of Sri Radhika. If that is there in the consciousness at the time of death, then all the winds of fortune will propel us in that direction, rather than distracting directions which will be there at the time of leaving this body. When we're suddenly liberated from this material conception, there's no restraint, like in a dream. In a dream, there's no false ego to make any boundaries, etc. We can go wherever we want to go. So if we've made this sanskar, this impression of, yes, what is the sadhya in this birth that I've been endeavoring to achieve? And even if we don't understand it, at least we can hear it, appreciate it. and pray for the mercy daily to be inspired with the greed, the thirst, the hunger to move along this path towards the goal. You can't move unless you know what is the goal. Unless you're clear on the sadhya, how can you go into 5th, 6th, 7th gear? You can't. You have to know clearly what is the sadhya. So we've reached, in Radha Tattva yesterday we discussed the Swarup Shakti and the 3 manifestations or aspects of Swarup Shakti, Sandini, Sangvit and Hladini. So we discussed those to some degree, and the diligent sadhak will meditate on these aspects for many, many years. We will meditate on the nature of these inconceivable potencies, all manifesting from Swarup Shakti. That was the principle, because this is called Radha Tattva. This is the step that we've come to, Radha Tattva. What is the speciality of that Swarup Shakti? Swarup Shakti, Chit Shakti is Radha Tattva. So yesterday we discussed that in the final commentary we were reading about the Sandini, Sangvit and Hladini. And I referenced the very beautiful diagram that we've made, that Krishna Para Shakti, Tattva, which delineates it all very, very clearly. So now we're going to move on from there and describe more of Radha Tattva. So we're on page 155 of this book. So you'd like to chant the verse?
Yes. So 158 and 159. Hiladini rasaramsha tar premanam ananda chinmaya rasa premere akyan premere paramasat mahabhav jani she mahabhav rupa Radha Thakurani.
The most essential part of this pleasure potency, because that's what we've been discussing, or Hladini Shakti, is called Prem, also known as Ananda Chinmoy Ras, the mellow of transcendental bliss. This mellow can only be tasted by Prem. Those who are in Prem can only experience this. The essence of Prem is called Mahabhav, which is personified in Sri Radha Thakurani. This is the verse to consider. Okay.
160. Tayorap ubayor madhye radhika sarvadadika mahabhav surupameyam mahabhav surupeyam gunair ativarishyasi.
This is from Ujjvala Nilmani 4:3. So Rupa Goswami is the, we can say, Prem Acharya. He's distributing the clear delineation of the nature of the sadhya where we're moving. Between the 2 gopis, Radhika and Chandravali, Sri Radhika is superior in every respect, because her very form is composed of the highest expression of love, Mahabhav. By qualities, she far outshines all the other beautiful damsels of Braj. She's the origin, she's the source of all the damsels of Braj. She manifests through her Kaya Vyuha, through her potency, all of the Brajadevis. And she manifests them with the same seed of hunger to simply pacify Krishna's calm, to please Krishna. They've all got that same sanskar, that same staibhav, we can say. Tapani Shrutis called Sri Radha Gandhava. The fundamental truths about Sri Radha are unprecedented and astonishing because they control that supreme person.
161. Premera swarupa deha premera bhavita krishnera preyasi sreshta jagate vidita.
Sri Radha's nature, Swarup, is comprised of prem, and her body is also made of prem. She is the most excellent of all of Sri Krishna's beloveds. This fundamental truth is known throughout the entire creation. If it's not known entirely in the earth realm, it's certainly known in the higher planetary systems.
162 Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Prapidavitabihi Tabirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Brahma Samhita 5:37. Sri Govinda, who is all-pervading and who exists within the hearts of all, resides in his Golok Dham, along with Sri Radha, who is the embodiment of his pleasure potency and the counterpart of his own spiritual form. She is the epitome of transcendental ras and is expert in 64 arts. They are also accompanied by the Sakhis, who are expansions of Sri Radha's own transcendental body and who are infused with blissful spiritual ras. I worship that original personality, Sri Govinda. So now we're going to describe all those 64 transcendental qualities or arts. Sri Jiva Goswami, my Gurudev's commentary, Sri Jiva Goswami identifies the planet of the gopis as none other than Golok Dham. Sri Krishna only resides where the gopis reside. The phrase Nija Rupatya Kalabi means that the gopi beloveds of Sri Krishna are actually his parts, non-different from himself, and the very embodiment of the essential function of Hladini Shakti. All of his Shaktis are emanations ultimately from Krishna. They are expansions of Unnata Ujvala Ras, or the amorous mellow, and because of their complete immersion in transcendental ecstasy, they are certainly Sri Krishna's dearmost beloveds. The word pratibhavita indicates those gopis who have immersed themselves completely in the prem ras for the king of mellows, Sri Krishna. Moreover, it indicates those gopis whose hearts, being inundated by a deluge of this loving affection, have themselves been loved by him. They, we've said a number of times, they initiated this exchange of affection, and with their deluge, the word deluge is described here, of affection. And then Krishna is reciprocating with that. By offering him such wonderful and expert affection, the gopis bestowed upon Sri Krishna a greatly beneficial gift. So the gopis pleased, they satisfied Krishna by their prem, by their unalloyed affection for Krishna. The functions, vritti, of the pleasure potency, Hladini Shakti, are all manifested in the form of different arts. The arts number 64. Nitya, dancing, Gita, singing, Vadya, playing on musical instruments, Natya, performing theatre, Alekya, painting, Vishakchedya, painting the face and body with colored unguents and cosmetics, Tandul Kusma Bali Vikar, preparing offerings from rice and flowers, Pushpastrana, making coverings of flowers for a bed, Darshan Vasanga Rag, applying preparations for cleansing the teeth and coloring the cloth and body, Mani Bhumika Karm, making a groundwork of jewels, Shaya Rachana, preparing the pastime bed, Udaka Vadya, playing music on the water, or Udak Gata, splashing with water. This is an art, splashing with water. Beautiful to consider. Chitra Yoga, painting, Malaya Gratana Vikalp, designing varieties of garlands. Sheka Rapida Yojan, setting a crown upon the head. Nepatya Yoga, dressing in the retiring room. Karna Patra Banga, decorating the ears, Karna. Sugandha Yukti, applying scents. Sugandha means fragrance. Bhushana Yojan, applying or setting ornaments, Bhushan. Aindra Jal, performing jugglery. Kochumara Yoga, engaging in decorative arts. Hasta Lagava, tricking others with sleight of hand. Chitra Shaka Pushpa Bhaksha Vikara Kriya, preparing varieties of salad, bread, cake, and delicious edibles for their picnics. Pancharas Ragasava Yojan, preparing palatable drinks and tinging drinks with a red color. Sucha Vaya Karm, doing needlework and weaving. Sutra Krida, playing with thread. Vina Damruka Vadya, playing on the lute and a small X-shaped drum. Prahaleka, posing and solving riddles. Pratimala, reciting a verse as a trial of memory or skill. 30. Durvachaka Yoga, speaking in a way that is difficult to understand. Pustaka Vachana, reciting books. Nati Kala Yayika Darshana, enacting short plays and anecdotes. Kavya Samasya Purana, resolving unfathomable statements, verses or poetry. Patika Vetra Bana Vikalpa, designing shields, canes, and arrows. Taraku Karma, spinning. Takshana, doing carpentry. Vastu Vidya, engineering. These are all arts that are absolutely essential for manifesting all the different kunjas that Krishna goes to daily. Brilliant arts. Rupya Ratna Pariksha, testing silver and jewels. Dhatu Vad, practicing metallurgy. 40. Mani Rag Gyan, coloring jewels. Akara Gyan, practicing mineralogy. Vriksayurved Yoga, practicing medical treatment by herbs. Vriksayurved Yoga. Mesha Kukuta Savaka Yuda Vidi, training rams, cocks, and birds to fight. Shuka Sharika Pralapana, training male and female parrots to converse and also understanding their conversations. Utsadan, using perfumes to heal or cleanse a person. Kesha Marjana Kushala, combing and decorating hair. Aksara Mustika Katana, talking with letters and fingers. Mlechita Kutarka Vikalpa, fabricating barbarous philosophies or foreign sophistry. Desha Bhasha Gyan, knowing provincial dialects. Pushpa Shakatika Nirmita Gyan, preparing of toy carts using flowers. Yantra Matrika, knowing the art of designing yantras. Dharana Matrika, wearing and using yantras. Samvachya, conversing. Manasi Kavya Kriya, composing verses mentally. Kriya Vikalpa, designing a literary work or a medical remedy. Chalitaka yoga, juggling words to defeat another. Abhidan Kosha Chandano Gyan, using lexicography and meters. Vastra Gopan, concealing cloth. Dutya Vesh, specific gambling. Akarsha Krida, playing with dice by using magnets. Balaka Kridanka, using children's toys. Vainaikya Vidya, enforcing discipline. Vajayika Vidya, gaining victory. And 64, Vitaliki Vidya, awakening one's master with music at dawn. What fascinating arts, all of them. If we read this Radha Krishna Ganadesha Deepika by my Gurudev, many of these arts are described in details there, especially the arts that Lalita Sakhi is capable of designing with flower arrangements, etc., with earrings. There are 5 types of earrings made from flowers that the gopis are expert at making. So all of these arts, they are all, it's described, completely expert in all of these arts, these 64 arts. This is the qualification, we can say. This is the nature of the Manjaris and of the gopis, that they're fully conversant with all of these arts. And all of these arts are trained, they're all trained in these arts by Sri Radha herself. It's described that no one has taught Sri Radha to cook. She just naturally cooks. No one has taught her the expert of amorous pastime. She's just expert at it because she's the origin. All of these artistic abilities are eternally present in their personified forms in Golok Dham. So, in their personified forms. By the help of his beloved friend, the flute, Sri Govinda, the hero of Golok, accepts the self-conception of being the unmarried lover, Upapati, of the gopis, and enacts his pastimes such as Rasa Leela. There too, the gopis, since time without beginning, retain the feeling that they are his beloveds, while married to another man. We've said many times that they have the conception in Aprakat Leela of marriage. They don't actually have husbands. They only have the husbands here in Bomba Vrindavan. But in Aprakat, they have conceptions to give that feeling, that excitement, that special ras of Parakya ras. Without the Parakya ras, Braja Dham, Braja Prem doesn't exist. It exists because of Parakya ras. So this has to be fully understood and accepted. Accepts the self-conception of being the unmarried lover. Oh, there too, the gopis, since time without beginning, retain the feeling that they are his beloveds while married to another man. Sri Krishna tastes this mood in one form in the spiritual realm, Golok, and another form in the Vrindavan of this world, Gokul. So there's a distinction, actually, because sometimes it's saying, in one sense, that there is no distinction, and another time they're saying Golok and Gokul are the same. So this is a very wonderful topic to appreciate, the distinction and yet similarities between Golok and Gokul. There is a difference, and at the same time there's no difference. Okay.
Okay, long set of verses, 8, 163 to 180. Se Mahabhav hai Chintamani sar, Krishna vancha purna kare ye karyatar. Mahabhav Chintamani Radha Swarupa, Lalitadi Sakitar Kaya Vyuharupa, Radha Prati Krishna Sneha Sugandhi उद्वर्तना ताटे अति सुगंधि देहा उज्ज्वल वर्ण कारुण्यामृत धारया स्नाना प्रथमा तारुण्यामृत धारया स्नाना मध्यमा लावण्यामृत धारया तदुपरि स्नान निज लज्ज श्यामा पट्टसाटी परिधान कृष्ण अनुराग द्वितीया अरुणावसना प्रणयमान कंचुलिकाया वक्ष आच्छादना सौंदर्य कुंकुमा सखी प्रणय चंदना स्मित कांति कर्पूरा तीने अंगे विलेपना कृष्णेर उज्ज्वल रसा मृगमद भरा से मृगमदे विचित्र कलेवरा प्रचन्न मानवाम्या धम्मिला विन्यसा दृढ़ धृतात्मका गुणा अंगे पटवासा रागतंबूला रागे अधर उज्ज्वला प्रेमे कौटिल्य नेत्र युगल कज्जला सुदीप्ता सात्विक भाव हर्षादि संचारी ये सबा भाव भूषण सब अंगे भरी किला किंचितादि भाव विंशति भूषिता गुणश्रेणी पुष्पमाला सर्वांगे पूरिता सौभाग्य तिलक चारु ललाटे उज्ज्वला प्रेम वैचित्य रत्न हृदय तरला मध्य वयसा सखी स्कंद करन्यासा कृष्ण लीला मनोवृत्ति सखी आशा पाशा निजंग सौरभालये गर्व पर्यांका ताटे वशी आचे सदा चिंते कृष्ण संगा कृष्ण नाम गुण यशा अवतांश काने कृष्ण नाम गुण यशा प्रवाह वचने कृष्णा के कारय श्याम रस मधुपान निरंतरा पूर्ण करे कृष्णेर सर्व काम कृष्णेर विशुद्ध प्रेम रत्नेर आकार अनुपमा गुणागणा पूर्ण कलेवरा.
Thank you, thank you. Actually, if we read this directly from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I think in retrospect it would have been easier for us to go verse by translation after each verse, because then you can catch the flow and the meanings within the... I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay.
You can connect to the mobile.
We'll try to continue and see if it's working. Rasamanjari, you can tell me if the YouTube is going. The Facebook is still going. But you can tell me if the YouTube's okay. Okay. Mahabhav is the essence of all perfection, and it is like a wish-fulfilling desire stone. Its only business is to fulfill all of Sri Krishna's desires. I said before just now, Radharani, she manifests all the Kaya Vyuha, all the Sakhis, all the Manjaris. Oh, live stream is working fine now. Thank you, thank you. And their only thought is how to satisfy Krishna's calm. They all have the same. So this is what it's saying here. Their only business is to fulfill all of Sri Krishna's desires. Sri Radha is the topmost spiritual gem, and the other gopis, such as Lalita, are her direct expansions, Kaya Vyuha. Sri Krishna's affection for her is like a perfumed massage, which makes Sri Radha's transcendental body brilliantly lustrous and fragrant. Sri Radha takes her first bath in the shower of the nectar of compassion, and she takes her second bath at midday in the nectar waves of fresh youth. Later on, Radharani takes her third and last bath in the nectar ocean of bodily luster. She wears the garment of shyness in the form of a very fine dark blue silk sari. Shri Radharani's affection for Krishna is her upper cloth, which is reddish in color. She then covers her breasts with a bodice comprised of overwhelming affection, pranaya, and jealous anger, man, for Krishna. Srimati Radharani's personal beauty is the reddish vermilion saffron powder known as kumkum placed upon her body. Her affection for her Sakhis is sandalwood's pulp, and the sweetness of her gentle smile is camphor. These three combined, camphor, sandal pulp, and kumkum, are smeared all over her body. Amorous love for Krishna is the fragrance of musk and special decorative pictures drawn with that musk nicely decorate her entire divine body. Concealed sulkiness and her unsubmissive leftist mood constitute her hairstyle, which is crooked. The quality of Dhira Dhira, an indignant heroine who greets her faithless beloved, sometimes with wiry politeness, while rebuffing him with ambiguous words, and sometimes with harshness, caustically rejecting him. This is all for Krishna's pleasure. The only reason why man manifests in Radha's heart is to please Krishna. She knows this is pleasing Krishna. Is the silk garment covering her body. Her attachment for Krishna is the reddish stain from betel nuts upon her lips, which causes them to shine brilliantly. Her crookedness in loving affairs is the decorative black mascara around her eyes. The ornaments on her body are the forms of her 8 types of fully blazing, devotional, ecstatic transformations, sattvika bhavs, and the other sanchari bhavs, 33 transitory emotions that swell in the ocean of the sthai bhav, headed by jubilation. All these ecstasies are like the decorations that beautifully embellish her body. Sometimes Krishna, he perceives these remarkable sattvika bhavs, or anubhavs sometimes, manifesting on the body of Radha, and he's just stunned to see these exhibitions, these moods. The sattvika bhavs are the very inner moods. They're it's the winds of emotion impacting the pran, the very life air. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether, these are all impacted by emotions, and there's 8 of them. And these 8 sattvika bhavs, like tears, like standing of the hairs on end, Krishna, he witnesses these. And the gopis also witness these in Srimati Radhika. So this pleases Krishna when he sees her mood. Even if she's acting contrarily, he sees her inner feelings manifesting on her body in the form of these sattvika bhavs and anubhavs. So these bodily ornaments constitute 20 kinds of ecstatic symptoms, including beginning with Kila Kinchita Bhav, a mixture of 7 moods: pride, desire, crying, laughing, malice, fear, and anger, that manifest simultaneously, all of these moods, pride, desire, crying, laughing, malice, fear, and anger, simultaneously appear on the body of Sri Radhika. Krishna, he witnesses this. Like, for example, in the pastime of the Dan Keli pastimes, when Krishna is blocking the passageway for the gopis to come through from Govardhan to deliver their milk for Ugara's yagya there, then Radhika is very happy to have this interaction with Krishna. At the same time, she's chastising Krishna, and all these bhavs are manifesting on her body simultaneously, and Krishna's perceiving this. And of course, when Krishna perceives this, he himself comes to such a high degree of bhav. Krishna only experiences the mahabhav, which is lower than these higher stages that Radhika appears in, because Krishna is the Vishaya, he's the object, whereas Radhika is the Ashraya, she's giving the love. Krishna is receiving the love. So the ecstasy of the Ashraya is higher than the ecstasy of the Vishaya. We've said many times that simple example of the sugar being tasted. Everyone is enjoying the taste of sugar more than the sugar itself experiences the sweetness. Sugar can't experience its own sweetness because it is just sweet. But the taster of the sugar experiences unlimited happiness and sweetness. This is why Mahaprabhu manifests, to taste his own sweetness. This is what this is all about, to show us the speciality of the Ashraya, of the Swarup Shakti, Sri Radha. Particularly in this Kila Kinchita Bhav, these 7 moods manifesting simultaneously. Her transcendental qualities, such as sweetness, are the flower garland hanging upon her whole body. A supremely beautiful tilak of good fortune adorns her forehead. Her various moods, such as Prem Vaichitya, are the various gems from which her necklace is composed, and her heart is the locket of her affection, which nicely decorates her. So this locket of affection is opened out in the beautiful pastime described by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Prem Samput. In this pastime, the locket of love is opened by Sri Radhika directly to Krishna, who is in the form of a Saki in front of her. She rests her hands on the shoulder of a Saki who represents eternal, fresh adolescence. Radha's Sakis, who always stay close by her, are the forms of her various mental activities, which all dwell upon the pastimes of Sri Krishna. Within Sri Radharani's palace, which represents her bodily beauty, is her bedstead, composed of pride itself. She's reclining on that powerful place of internal pride, which is a very beautiful quality in this regard. She is always seated there thinking of Sri Krishna's intimate association. Sri Krishna's name, fame and qualities decorate her ears, and her name and fame flow continually from her speech. Sri Radha induces Krishna to drink the honey of amorous pleasure, and she completely satisfies all his desires. So this mood of pride, Radhika is the most humble person in all existence, and yet she has this pride simultaneously, represented by this, she's reclining on this bedstead of pride itself. Her body is exactly like the valuable jewel of completely pure prem, the only object of which is Sri Krishna. These unparalleled spiritual qualities always decorate Sri Radha's transcendental body. Now there's a commentary by my Gurudev describing these. Sri Radha's Mahabhav Chintamani Swarup. Sri Radha is Mahabhav Chintamani Swarup. She is the embodiment of Mahabhav and is just like a wish-fulfilling spiritual jewel. As Chintamani fulfills all of one's desires, so Sri Radha fulfills all the desires of Brajendra Nandan, Sri Krishna, who is the hero of unlimited universes and the crest jewel of those who taste ecstatic devotional mellows. If Sri Krishna has any desire to taste the ras of associating with the gopis who are opposed to Sri Radha, the Vipaksh gopis, then Sri Radha manifests herself as Chandravali, and in that form fulfills her beloved's desires. All of the Braja gopis are personifications of the different moods of Sri Radha. In harmony With Sri Krishna's particular desire, she presents herself accordingly. The queens of Dwarka. Radhika doesn't actually become Chandravali, but she enhances the attraction that will attract Krishna to Chandravali. That anurag has reached a pitch, and then that gives Chandravali the qualification to hijack or capture Krishna. And it's Radhika who is supporting that transcendental anurag manifesting from the heart of Chandravali. Krishna becomes totally attracted to that. But that is manifested by Sri Radhika, because Chandravali is her Kaya Vyuha. So it must be coming originally from Sri Radha. But still, Chandravali has her own personality. The queens of Dwarka and the different incarnations of Lakshmi are all Sri Radha's pastime expansions, Vaibhav Vilas. Some are Anksha, parts, and some are Kala, part of parts. Sri Radha has assumed all these various forms. Thus they are her non-different bodily expansions. This is Radha Tattva we're discussing. They're all expansions, emanations from Sri Radha, known as Kaya Vyuha. Each of these forms is always happy and alert to fulfill each of Sri Krishna's desires, but only Chintamani Swarup Sri Radha can satisfy all his desires. She is the queen. The term Kaya Vyuha signifies the multiple distinct forms that are manifest simultaneously in order to perform a variety of different activities. Each Kaya Vyuha body is similar to the original one, similar in their desire, not similar in their looks, etc. All are individually, uniquely attractive, but their desire to please Krishna, that is similar in each one. Sri Radha's Sakhis increase the wonder and astonishment of the love-filled pastimes. Sri Krishna's affection for Sri Radha is such that it is extremely fragrant. When Sri Radha recalls Sri Krishna's astonishing love, her entire body becomes supremely fragrant and brilliantly radiant. So the Sakhis are an integral part of the pastimes, and we're going to come to one description in a short while just about the Sakhis. We'll discuss them. Her entire body becomes supremely fragrant and brilliantly radiant. She is the confluence or meeting place of the three currents known as Karuna Amrit, the nectar of mercy, Tarunya Amrit, the nectar of youth, and Lavanya Amrit, the nectar of beauty. All these three, compassion, youth, and beauty, all meet in Sri Radha, the very embodiment of these three qualities. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.164 states, Para Dukasaha Asaho Yastu Karanaha Sa Nigatyate. One who cannot tolerate the unhappiness of others is called merciful. When an adjective is formed, the noun mercy becomes merciful. In addition, the nectar of mercy, or Karuna Amrit, is a wave upon the current of prem. It is in this nectar of mercy that Sri Radha takes her first bath, that nectar of mercy. It is very auspicious to bathe in the early morning in a river, as it makes the body extremely smooth, glistening, and soft. For this reason, Sri Radha takes bath in the waves of the nectar of compassion, first thing in the morning. Early morning indicates Radha's age, known as Vyasa Sandhi, the conjunction of two ages. And at this time, all the restlessness of infancy, Balya, and childhood, Paugandya, disappear. At midday, Sri Radha takes her second bath in Tarunya Amrit, or the nectar flow of just rising youthfulness. Upon completing her morning bath, Sri Radha goes to Sri Nanda Baba's palace, and after preparing edibles for her treasured Sri Krishna, she goes to Sri Radhakund to bathe, making some excuse to get away from her friends. His friends. Sri Shamasundar joins her there. As soon as Sri Radha catches sight of him, her body automatically blossoms with ever-fresh youthfulness. Now, they very expertly perform boating pastimes, water sports, and other water pastimes, Jal Vihar. And lastly, they take an ecstatic bath in Radhakund together. This bath is full of wondrous, mutual, loving sentiments. After this midday bath, the waves of youthful nectar cover them both, and Sri Radha's natural youthfulness becomes fully blazing.
Mukta faleshu chayaya taralatvam ivantara pratibhati yadangeshu lavanyam tad ihochyate.
This is from Ujjvala Nilamani 10:28. Just as one can perceive the luster of a pearl from any direction, similarly one can see the heartfelt devotional sentiments radiating from within the body of Sri Radha. My Gurudev comments. These barbs make Sri Radhika's beauty shine even more brightly. When she goes to meet Sri Krishna in the night at the appointed meeting place, her budding youth and exceeding beauty manifest fully. It is by this Lavanya Amrita, nectar of her beauty, that she fulfills all the desires of her most beloved, giving him the topmost happiness. It is in this flow of Lavanya Amrit in the evening that she takes her third bath, in the flow of that current. Therefore, Sri Radha is the root cause and shelter of all mercy, youthfulness, and beauty. As she approaches her budding, fresh youth, her body takes on a sense of gravity, and very naturally, shyness starts to make its appearance in her. To cover her femininity, she wears a dark blue sari, which is the actualized form of the amorous mellow, or the Sringara Ras. It appears as if her shyness has wrapped her entire body with this blue cloth. Over her sari, she wears a veil the color of the rising sun that represents her attraction for Sri Krishna.
Sadhanubhutam apiyaha kuryayan navam priyam rago bhavan navaha sonu raga itirete.
Ujjvala Nilamani 14:146. We can understand from these descriptions why Srila Krishnadas Kavi Raj, the king of poets, why was he given this title? Because he writes such immaculate descriptions of Sri Radha. Also in Govinda Lilamrita, there the descriptions are impeccable. The beauty that he's describing there of the pastimes. So thus he thoroughly deserves this title of Kavi Raj, the king of all poets. That ever-fresh, all-consuming attraction, rag, which itself causes one to realize one's beloved in a novel manner every moment. Every moment. Every moment the lover sees his beloved in a newer and fresher light, dazzling, eternally seeing like this, is called anurag. Since Sri Radha wishes to remain constantly absorbed in this anurag, she always covers her upper torso with red cloth. At all times, she is beautifully decorated with 16 decorative items, Sodash Shringar, a bath, a shining bejeweled nosepiece, blue cloth, an ornamented belt around her waist, a braid, swaying earrings, an ointment of camphor, musk, and sandalwood smeared on her body, flowers decorating her hair, a garland about her neck, a pastime lotus in her hand, tambul in her mouth, a spot of musk on her chin, kajal, black mascara on her eyes, tilak on her forehead, dolphins, makari, the aquatic animals on the flag of Cupid, drawn in musk on her pinkish cheeks, and her feet tinted with red dye. These 12 ornaments, Dwadasha Abharan, beautifully decorate Sri Radhika's body. So initially we talked about the 16 decorative items, so Dash Shringa. Now we're going to describe the 12 Abharana, the beautiful ornaments that decorate Radhika's body. An effulgent jeweled crown, large golden earrings, a golden waist sash, a silver necklace, a small golden ear studs, and hairpin, rings on her fingers, a neck ornament, and bangles on her wrist. Upon her chest is a glistening chain. Upon her arm are amulets, and on her ankles and toes are jeweled ankle bells and toe rings. The following transcendental qualities are always within Srimati Radhika's possession. She is wonderfully beautiful to behold. She is situated in the prime of fresh youth. She has restless eyes and casts sidelong glances. She is always adorned with a mild, sweet smile, and the soles of her feet are marked with enchanting lines indicating unlimited auspiciousness. Her bodily fragrance maddens Krishna. Her singing of the fifth note equals the sweetness of a cuckoo, and she is expert in the science of singing with music. She speaks sweetly. She is expert at joking. She is humble, merciful, extremely clever, and expert in all activities. She is shy and follows proper etiquette. Thus she shows respectful behavior to her superiors. This respectful behavior is of three types: inborn, learned from others, and deemed proper by her own deliberation. She is patient, grave, expert in knowing appropriate rhythm and tune, and possessed of ecstatic symptoms such as hava and bhav. She demonstrates the highest form of love, called Mahabhav. Seeing her, the hearts of all the residents of Gokul flood with prem. This is Gokul, not Golok. Her fame is spread throughout the universe. She is most beloved of her superiors. She is controlled by the love of her girlfriends. She is the most prominent of Sri Krishna's beloveds, and Sri Krishna always obeys her orders. This is such beautiful description of Sri Radha. We could read this every single day and be inspired in attraction towards Sri Radhika. Sri Radhika, with these qualities, is inspiring full attraction from Krishna. This is the sole purpose and intent of her manifesting these qualities. And all the gopis, they all have similar qualities, but to a lesser degree. Radhika is Atyantika Adhika. Atyantika means there's no one in her league. She is the foremost of all the gopis. Yet the other gopis, they have similar qualities, but to a lesser degree, all with the intention of pleasing Krishna. So without understanding and hearing, first of all, Krishna Tattva and Radha Tattva, how can we proceed into Prem Tattva? So these two pillars, Radha Tattva and Krishna Tattva, are being given to us by Mahaprabhu for our meditation. And I would suggest to the devotees that you read these pages again and again and again and again to yourselves. Read them out loud to make a more deeper impression in the consciousness, but fix the sanskar of attraction towards Sri Radhika. So This is the mercy of Mahaprabhu. He's giving us Radha Tattva. Before Mahaprabhu, this Radha Tattva was not comprehended. It was not even on the map, so to speak, in the same way. Jayadev Goswami, we heard the other day, cannot even acknowledge that Radhika is superior to Krishna in the world of rasa. Jayadev could not write that verse. Smaragarala Kandanam, Mamasirasi Mandanam, Dehi Padapalavam, Udar. He could not write that verse. Krishna had to write it himself, acknowledging the supremacy of Sri Radhika. So these are beautiful, beautiful meditations and contemplations for us. This is on the sadhya. We're on the road to appreciating what is the complete sadhya. This is all a part of the sadhya. When we came to the chapter on Prem Tattva, then from there, Radha's Prem. Then from Radha's Prem to Krishna Tattva, and now Radha Tattva. So see these steps clearly in the structure of this pathway that Mahaprabhu is delineating to us by his utmost compassion, utmost compassion. Shri Rai Ramanand Sangwad Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhavayavacha, Patitanam Papnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha.